Hi, hi, hi. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Hope you're swell, swell, swell. Hope you're wavy, hope you're wavy, hope you're nice, nice, nice. Hope you're doing really nice. Hope you're doing really nice. Yo, sometimes I feel guilty about spamming the topic of relationships and all these things so much. I try to switch it up and talk about different things, but it's like, bro, I just watched a video that got me thinking I want to talk about relationships again. I hope it's not too much, but yeah, I just have so many opinions on this topic. It's my favorite topic. But yeah, but just as a quick aside, like earlier in the past couple of days, I was talking about relationships, and I was talking about like relationships and property and owning property and debt and all these things. I did have a conversation with my mom. She's into property, like she was an architect for a long time, and she just knows that world very well. And one thing I should have is that when you're a property owner, let's say you get married and you're living with your partner now, with your husband, your wife, and you got this other property that you got some time ago. You got a debt you need to pay off. One solution to that problem, without involving your significant other, one solution is getting tenants, so you can get people to move in, so that, like, let's say you have an apartment, you can have someone living in that apartment paying rent, and you can use that rent to then pay off the debt, right? Pay off the loan. So that's something people do. It's not always. It doesn't always work out that way. For some reason, sometimes people struggle to find tenants, whatever. It might not be a popular property, might not have been a great investment, whatever the case may be. But that is a pathway. So it is important to note that in this particular case of accruing debt with property, now there's other ways to accrue debt. But yeah, that's just one specific thing that I was thinking about that I thought I should mention. That you could that is a workaround. You can find tenants, and then if you manage to pay it off that loan, then that's just an extra income that you're getting from that property for your household, that you can then just use to contribute to the family. But anyway, I just watched this crazy video. Now look, whenever I see stuff on the internet, I do take it with a grain of salt. This woman was talking about how she married a very monstrous man, and the details she was sharing were horrific. But one thing I've learned from the internet is that you do have to take these stories with a grain of salt, because it's very easy for people to lie these days. And she is making very serious claims, and the guy that she married he's a monster. But again, there's been instances of women lying egregiously, like terrible, terrible lies that have ruined people's lives. And you do have to be careful. Evidence is so important when we're dealing with all these sort of things. So it's a developing thing, because there's some details of the story that people are just saying don't add up, and I'll just cut to the chase. She was accusing her husband of SAing her 2-year-old and 4-year-old daughter and her. She said he raped her four times in the first few months of their marriage. He SA'd her, majorly assaulted her in the first few months of their marriage, and then he went on to do the same to her 2-year-old and 4-year-old daughter. And it's insane. It's like, wow, wowzers. And people are like, because she was telling the story, and like she was changing her little girl, like I think her 2-year-old, she was changing the little 2-year-old and asking, and then like the 2-year-old was like red and sensitive, and she's like, wait, did someone touch you? And then the 2-year-old, yeah, daddy touched me. And then obviously it wasn't that lighthearted. It was probably a very serious discussion. And then instead of like calling the police and whatnot, she did a whole bunch of other stuff except call the police. And people were like, yeah, I don't know, fam. Because she also did some stuff with the 4-year-old. The man did some stuff with the 4-year-old as well. Much later. That doesn't seem like the police were involved at all, to be honest. Like, the details are scant, but she never mentioned police. Except when, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't seem like the man was arrested, which is crazy, bro. What? So people are a bit skeptical of the story. Because, there's this whole thing of believe a woman, all these sort of things. But that's such a ridiculous place to start at. It's like, no, they're like, women lie a lot. You can't believe a woman, you need evidence. That's how the legal system works, and it's very easy for someone to just say something to ruin someone's life. So that's why you have to be very scrutinous of any information you get. But if true, I want to talk about the mistakes she made, because her whole channel, the whole YouTube channel, it's about like, attracting quote unquote high value men and all these sort of things, how to attract a good husband. And I think she left because the children she had, I think 3 of them were with another man, because she has 4 kids. I think 3 of them were with another man. I think she left that other man for this other guy because she quote unquote leveled up and all these sort of things. You know how it goes. And they find someone richer and more popular and they leave you for the other guy or whatever. I don't know the details of that divorce. But she made a bunch of mistakes. And apparently she got married to him after 2 weeks and all these sort of things. Now, I've been on record talking about how I do think it's possible for people to come to a good decision that, we've only known each other for 3 weeks, but we should get married. I do think there are cases where that's valid and makes sense. But I've also acknowledged that that's probably in the minority of cases, but I do think it's possible. And the reason why I think it's possible is that, especially for people who are older, maybe, I guess this is a piece of information I never added the other times I've said this, but particularly people who are older who, maybe have been through some things and they know what they want and whatever the case may be. So maybe you're in your late 20s, early 30s, whatever the case may be, or older than that, and you're just like, look, I know what I want. I'm not here to play. People like that can come to a decision very quickly, and they're just over all the BS. They don't have time for the shenanigans and the small talk. People like that tend to come to decisions very quickly. So I do think there are cases where that is very possible. This whole thing. Getting married relatively quickly in a matter of weeks. We're getting engaged in a matter of weeks. However, I've more so taken the stance of like within a year's time frame, I think is a reasonable amount of time to get to know someone. I'm not one of these people that thinks it takes 5 years to get to know someone before you engage. I think that's ridiculous. I think a year is more than enough time. I've said 6 months. If you're fortunate enough to have a high level of access to this person, so you can see them pretty much regularly, multiple times a week type of situation. Yeah, like you're gonna be having a lot of conversations. There's no reason that within a few months you don't know what you need to know. You're not gonna know everything about the person, but you're gonna know enough to come to a decision. That's my stance, and yeah. There are risks, though. There are risks if you're not being careful. Because if what this woman is saying is true, her story about the man doing these terrible things to her children and all, yada, yada, yada. If what she's saying is true, like, if you're not vigilant and you're ignoring certain red flags and you're not doing your due diligence in terms of getting to know this person and you're not helping you're not having people help you vet the person as well, yeah, you can end up marrying a crazy person. For sure. For sure, for sure. Was it yesterday I was talking about how maybe the day before yesterday. Was it the day before yesterday? I can't remember. I was talking about my family members, my cousins. Every single one of them married doofuses or had children with doofuses. Bad decision making. And I'm very much trying to avoid all that. And one thing I think is so important is meeting, like whatever girl I end up with has to meet my mom. She has to meet my mother and be like close with her, just so that I know that my mom is also looking out for me. And it's not meant to be intimidating. It's not meant to be scary. It's just one of those things where, when you're marrying someone, you're marrying into the family. So it would make sense that the family also gets to know the person that you're in love with and you want to marry. So my mom would then tell me, like, I don't think she's good because I noticed this thing and that thing, and then I have to come to a decision. Or she's like, she's a decent person and I think she's nice and there's nothing wrong and yeah. And then boom, you get married. Because I told a story in my community tab about a girl who had met this guy that her mom was not a fan of. Her mom was pretty much the only person in the family who was like, this guy has issues. I'm not confident that he'll be good for my daughter. You should reconsider. Everyone else was just saying she's a hater. They got engaged, and then a whole bunch of things started coming out about him that were very troubling. He was involved in some ridiculous dispute with his mom. She fined him a hefty amount of money, which is the equivalent of a cow, because in this part of the world, on the African continent, you can fine your family, you can charge them a cow or the equivalent of a cow in terms of money. If they feel like you've insulted them grossly, you have to pay a fine. And he was charged a cow, which is a red flag. But that could have been a once-off thing, and maybe the mom was just being crazy, you never know. But then it came out that he also brutally beat up his dad to the extent that the family had to call the police on him and he was sent to jail. And that's when his fiancée, the girl, had to visit him in jail. And when she got there, the officers in the jail were laughing at her and saying like, yo, this guy's gonna kill you if you marry him, you know that, right? And yeah, that was the last straw for her. She called off the wedding, and the mom of the daughter of the girl, the mom was like, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Because she had been saying from the beginning, I'm getting bad vibes about this guy. So you have to listen to your parents, man. Because they want what's best for you. They want you to be happy. So you have to take them seriously sometimes. So yeah, that's an example of someone needing input, outside input. So with me, I think about like, okay, first few months, I'm gonna get to know her. After that, if I feel like we're close enough, like we're having a good enough time, I'll be like, yo, you should probably meet my mom now, and I should probably meet yours. Which people might think is going too fast, but I really think it's just a matter of perspective. It depends on what your goals are and how serious you are about getting married. What is your objective? What are you trying to get out of these relationships you're in? I'm dating with the exclusive intent of getting married. Like, that's the only reason I'd ever like get into an official relationship with a girl, is because I'm like, I can see a pathway towards marriage with you, right? So with girls I've gone out with in the past, gone out on dates and whatnot, if I feel like we're not compatible, like I've noticed this thing that we're not congruent in, and this thing is just, therefore a long-term relationship just wouldn't make sense. A marriage definitely wouldn't make sense. I never pursue things further with those girls because, you could be like, I just want to have fun. It would be a nice experience. Even if you break up, hey, it's better. Well, what's the quote? It's better to have loved than to not have loved at all, or something like that. I mean, someone let me know what that quote is. That's nonsense because people underestimate just how much a bad relationship can wreck your life. It can destroy you. If you get with the wrong person, it can do a number on you. Like, it can destroy your dreams. It can destroy your body. It can destroy everything. If you've worked really hard to build something, some person you get with, because you had a moment of passion, you felt really strongly about them, they can destroy everything you build. There's many stories of women getting with bad men, and then the bad men end up destroying maybe there's some girl has a business or whatnot, and you get with some guy, he ends up getting you in trouble, and all your business is going under or whatever. There's many stories like that. My mom had a online business that my dad ruined basically. It's a long story, but yeah, I've seen it and I've heard it, and same thing with guys who get with bad women. I think it's better to be single than to get into these toxic, crazy relationships for sure. But yeah, with these girls I've gone out with, if I see that there's no future, that it just doesn't make sense for me to be with you. I don't want to waste your time. First of all, it's not nice. It's like, if I know I'm probably gonna break up with her at some point, it's not gonna work. Why would I still know? Why would I still get with you? Rather go and find someone else who make you happy, because I don't think I can do that long term. But some guys, they do the math and they're like, I can be with her, I can feel nice, I can have the benefits of the relationship. We're cuddling, she's telling me nice things. Valentine's Day, we're together, going on dates. I can post on my status, oh, I'm with the boo. All these benefits of being in a relationship. Some people will have sex. I don't believe in premarital sex. I'm not looking to extract sex out of you in that way. I look forward to sex in the context of marriage. I hope to have a very sexually active marriage. It's very exciting, actually, when I think about it. But it's some guys, a lot of guys they'll see these relationships just as an opportunity to extract sex out of someone, and then dump them. And that's a big issue with the sexual liberation era we're in. Is that a lot of women are lying to themselves, saying that they're very happy with sleeping with strangers or guys who don't know their names or really don't care about them that much. And they pretend as if they're having just as much fun as the dudes. It's like, no, you're not. These guys are using you, and if you feel dirty and you don't like it, you want a man who treats you with respect, who cares about you, who, even if you say can we hold off on sex? He still wants to be around you. Even if you were to be like, can we hold off on sex for a while? He'll still be very interested in you and hanging out and talking and going on dates and all these other things. There's a lot of girls who, if you say to these guys, I'm locking it up until marriage, for example, what? They'll leave you. Hell no. Or they'll convince themselves that they can handle it, but when reality sets in that, oh, she's serious, yeah, they'll buckle. So you need to find someone who's serious about you, who's actually about you, the individual, and genuinely just enjoys spending time with you. Like I said, I'm looking forward to a very, very sexually active marriage. And there's a lot that goes into maintaining that. It's not a given that you can just have that. There is things you have to do to create the sort of environment that makes that fun. So it's not just an obligation. I do think sex is a marital duty. Some people might find that controversial, but I think having a highly sexually active marriage helps the marriage keep going. So you don't want husband or your wife burning with passion and sexual desire, and you're just depriving them constantly. So I do think it's a marital duty, but that doesn't mean you just take it for granted and you don't I as a person who wants a highly sexually active marriage, I don't have to do work to make it easier, like I want to make it as easy as possible for the woman I'm with to enjoy it and be enthusiastic about it. But it's also just important to have someone who's on the same page as you. Like she also wants the same thing. She agrees and she understands the importance of sex in marriage and all these sort of things. So that we're just on the same page. But yeah, we're working to make it the sort of environment where that can flourish. But let's say she's involved in some accident and she can't perform that marital duty anymore. Like we just can't have sex anymore. Am I gonna leave her? No, I don't believe in divorce, first of all. But no, I like her for her, and sex is something I want, but it's not necessarily something I need to be with you, right? Because I'm with you for you. That's the idea. That's the whole idea. And there's also periods of time where you're gonna abstain for the sake of balance, like if you're highly sexually active, you still need to have periods of time where you're not sleeping with each other. Like you have maybe 2-3 weeks where you're not touching each other in that way, just to reset and learn discipline and not be too sex crazed, so that you know that you can turn off the tap at certain points, just for the sake of balance. Everything's about balance. Too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. So there'll always be periods of time where you kind of have to separate a little bit and meditate. But yeah, someone talked about how you're not married. So I've spoken at length about the importance of me as a man being able to provide. I've talked about how I am pursuing the more traditional sort of relationship where my wife is able to stay at home and take care of the kids and take care of me and all these sort of things. That's what I envision. That's the idea I like the most. It's very appealing to me. And I also want many children. Many, quote unquote, it depends who you ask what many is. But 5 for me is a great number. I like the number 5. And I just envision 5 children. I like that. But it's expensive. It's really, really expensive. So I was just thinking about how it might take a lot of time to get to the point where I can provide for that sort of lifestyle. And for the sort of woman that would be into that sort of lifestyle to take me seriously, I would need to show that I can actually provide for that. However, it's easy to fall into a materialistic mindset when you are pursuing the resources, numbers and all that sort of stuff. Like, here's how much I can provide. And there's a whole bunch of other things that go into maintaining a relationship and being a good father and a good husband. You need to be emotionally available. You need to be very smart. You need to be an intellectual leader and not just a financial one, and all these other things. And spiritually, you need to be intact as well. You need to be right with the Lord and praying for your family constantly, and they should be praying for you as well. And there's so much that goes into it. And someone talked about how you don't marry money, you marry character. So you shouldn't be looking to see how much money someone has as your primary motivation to get into a relationship. You should be analyzing their character. Because that woman I talked about in the beginning of the video, who said, like got essayed by her husband, and her daughters got essayed by her husband, and all that sort of stuff. If the story is true, the issue was she was looking at other things and not really investigating his character. Because the issue with a lot of people, women in particular, is they always make the claim that he just switched. He switched. I didn't see any signs of any bad behavior, and then one day he just became a monster. It's tough to hear, especially if you're someone who's a victim of one of these crazy men. It's tough to hear that you probably looked probably let slide some things that you should never have let slide. Like there are signs you just ignore them. And that's tough to hear, but are there some cases maybe where someone can make the case that I was completely hooked in and it wasn't my fault? And it wasn't my fault. Completely bamboozled? Maybe. I don't know. But the vast majority of cases, the signs were there. You just weren't looking hard enough. And you should take it very seriously because, like I said, bro, the wrong relationship can ruin your life, man. That's why I think it's nonsense, this idea that it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. I think that's the quote, actually. I think that's the exact quote. I'm like, no, sometimes it's better to never have loved at all because if you love a monster, you're in trouble. If you're in a relationship with an absolute demon, yeah. What are you talking about? It's way better to be a nun in some convent somewhere. You've never seen a penis. Sorry. And you're burning with sexual desire and whatnot. It's better to be that person than the person who's trapped in this chaotic, toxic, like hellish marriage where you're being beaten blue, like you're getting monkey pawed, and he's doing all sorts of terrible things to you and your children. And yeah. What are you talking about? Go be a nun in a convent. That's better. Like that's better. I mean, that's an extreme. That's an extreme on the other side of things, but it's still better. I'm using that as a to make a point that even that extreme is better than the other extreme, which is being in a crazy, chaotic, toxic, abusive relationship. You don't want that. Trust me. My mom went through things with my dad. He wasn't nearly as crazy as the man I just described. He wasn't like a monster. But, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's draining and it's sad and it's just, it holds you back in life and you really regret the decisions you make. So it's better to not do that. The women in my family are not great at picking men, I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. By the way, this is why I don't let like family members and friends watch my videos, because then I talk so much about them and I don't want them to see this. It'll be so awkward. But yeah. The women in my family, terrible at picking men. Terrible. The men too. The men in my family are terrible at picking women. Oh my gosh, what? Even my brother, like, his last girlfriend was, oh my god, we were praying that they break up, man. We were praying so hard that they leave each other because she was just not going to be a good fit in this family. Oh my gosh, this guy, man. If he'd married her, another crazy bitch in the family, because we got two crazy bitches right now in our family, and we're very upset about it because they keep causing drama. My two male cousins married these insane wenches who are just off the wall, unhinged. They're doing also, there's a whole bunch of family drama, and everyone in the family agrees that these bitches are crazy. I could go into the details about it, but trust me when I say these people are not stable individuals. I think the one person has a bipolar disorder as well, which just complicates things even further. It's crazy, man. So yeah, you gotta pick wisely, which is part of the reason why I'm so pragmatic about marriage and picking the right marriage partner. Because I'm seeing all this chaos. I'm like, this is ridiculous. A lot of this stuff is easily avoidable if you just are very prudent and practical. But I'm careful not to make it allow it to make me scared, because I'm still very much pro marriage and I'm looking forward to it, and it's so exciting. So it's like I see all these failed marriages and terrible relationships, and it doesn't make me not want to get married. It doesn't make me hesitant at all. In fact, like I've said, I'm the type of person who it's like I can get married in 6 months, and I don't think that's crazy. I think there's a pathway to do it right. I think if you're not careful, yeah, it can end very badly, because there's many cases of people getting married very, very quickly and it being an absolute flop. Like there's many cases like that for sure. I acknowledge it. But again, when you look into the details of how they got married and what was the vetting process like and what sort of conversations did you have and what red flags did you ignore, that's when you start to really like, okay, like you ignored a ton of red flags. Like the woman I was talking about in the video that I watched, she said this man schmeggerly assaulted her 4 times. And she thought that that was something that she could get over, that she could look past and move on from. But she's like, wait, bitch, what? This is the first few months of her marriage. So this guy, 4 times in like the first few months, like the first 2 months or something like that. 4 times this guy had his way with her without her consent. And she, in her mind, that was acceptable. Like that was something that she could then say, I'll look past it. Look, I get that when you just married, you just got married just now, pride and also your sense of duty and obligation, because you swore vows, you swore an oath to, to be with this person till death do us part, all this sort of stuff. I understand why that might make you hesitant to just break it off, especially when it's so early. But there's some things that make the contract, the pact, null and void. He's violated the contract. What are you talking about? He's majorly assaulted you. Like, it's over. It's a wrap. You're at risk, fam. He's supposed to be protecting you. He's supposed to be keeping you safe, and he's not. He's actually doing the exact opposite of that. He's a danger to you. You need to leave. Especially when you have kids, because she had kids from another marriage. And ultimately, we know that the kids got smeggerly assaulted as well. It's kind of on her because, 4 times? 4 times? And you just let it slide? Come on. I'm getting in trouble for victim blaming, but come on, guys. At some point, like, decision making has to be there. You have to be awake. You have to be awake. There's like families that are trying to intervene on behalf of some woman that's getting beaten across the room, thrown across the room, smashed against the wall by the husband, and she's always showing up to family functions looking crazy. It's like, he hit you again? Oh my God. She never leaves him. I love him. No. And people are trying to get her to see, like, this guy is dangerous. He's going to kill you. And she's just refusing. No, he's going to change. I promise you. He's like, bitch. At some point, you have to hold these people accountable. It's like, you're doing this to yourself. So, there are many cases where, like, my methods of, like, being quick, not wasting time, can backfire horrendously. I get it. But yeah, you have to be prudent. You have to acknowledge red flags and not let it slide. If getting smeggerly assaulted 4 times is not a red flag, I don't know what is. What else is a red flag? Like, honestly, guys, can we please be serious? So yeah, there's a girl I know who I was very, very close with. She had a guy that cheated on her, who God knows how many times. And she was in a relationship with a good guy who was treating her nicely. It wasn't me. At that time, we were like just friends, and she was in a relationship with a decent guy, who was treating her nice. She seemed to be happy. She seemed to be impressed with this guy. He seemed like a stable individual. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. I didn't know him too well. But she left that guy. Well, she didn't leave him, but she ended up meeting up with her ex and sleeping with him because she had such a strong attachment to him and whatever, even though he's cheated on her like who knows how many times. And there is a psychological aspect to that as well. I think he just has his roots in her mind. He's got such a strong hold on her. He seems like a very manipulative sort of guy. He's very good at getting in your head, but also sex does that as well. Sex is is literally a bonding process. That's what it's made for. It's to bond people. Well, it's made to make children, but part of that is bonding the mother and father together, which produces the best possible outcome for the offspring, the children. So you release hormones when you're having sex. You release these chemicals in your brain that alter the way you see that person. It's a very powerful process that happens, which is why you probably shouldn't sleep with someone until you're married, because the assumption with marriage is that before you marry someone, you've vetted them and made sure that they're good for you before you sleep with them and begin to bond. So when you're sleeping with someone who you're not married to, who you haven't properly checked out and confirmed as a good partner, the problem with that is if they're a bad partner, you've bonded to a bad partner. So that's exactly what this girl did. She bonded to a scumbag who then comes along when she's in a good relationship and says, yo, let's meet up. And because she's still got such strong, powerful ties to him, she can't resist. He wrecks her relationship. The good guy she was with left her, abandoned her. He was like, no, this is crazy. Can't believe you did this to me. And she can't get with the other guy either because he's a scumbag, and now she's alone. And she might go back to him. She might think I have no other option. And yeah, that's how these girls end up in the worst relationships. Because he will just keep cheating. He's not going to change. He's going to keep cheating on her and treating her like trash. That's what he's doing. And honestly, it's hard to feel sorry for them because they kept making these bad decisions. It's hard to feel sorry for them. At some point, you just have to be like, you made your bed. It sounds harsh, but it's just reality. You can't excuse everything, guys. At some point, you have to be like, you made that choice. Enjoy. But yeah, I rambled, man. Let me know what you think in the comments. Yeah, just remember, guys, pick wisely. Please pay attention. Select for the right traits. You marry character, not money. You marry character, not looks. You marry character, not social status. You marry character. Confirm the person's character. Get your family involved. Get your friends involved. You need second opinions. You need to be objective. And no matter how strongly you feel about a person, if you can tell that they're not good for you, don't do it. Don't do it. It's better to be single than trapped in a house with a crazy person. You know? It's better to be single, I'm telling you. You could be single, traveling, living life. Like, you might get lonely. You might cry by yourself on Valentine's Day. I'm single. You're still better off than some person who's shackled to a monster and they can't leave. You're still better off. So be very careful. Do things the right way. Don't cut corners. Don't take shortcuts. Pick wisely. I've seen people pick the wrong people constantly. I've seen it all around me, and it's not good. So please, pretty please, when you're picking a partner, pick. Okay, I've exhausted that point. Until the next marriage rant, I'll see you. You don't have to pray at the end of my videos. Dear Father God, I thank you for this individual watching this one. Thank you for making them whole, unique, and guide them to path towards peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person with wonderful life. Love them, take care of them. Bring the absolute best out of them. And thank you for maintaining the ones that are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with love and marriage, and sustaining that love and marriage and making you very, very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with a spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in their life, and by giving thanks they can find peace, contentment, and attractive for all blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life, and let your God, let your will, that your love, and good health, long life, and happiness. Good health, long life, and happiness over this person, everyone can mind. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen, 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 amen.